Deep divers, welcome to the show, Miss Donatella.
Hi. Yes, I'm excited today. Welcome to Journeys from Lagos to Brooklyn as I try to get situated with this microphone at my hair.
Well, you wanted better sound, so you set me on the job to go get you better sound, and that's what I'm doing. I went and got you better sound. You can't have everything in life.
Apparently, I cannot. So it's like it's taken away from my curls. Lizelle, hair by Lizelle, I'm so sorry. I picked the day to bring out the animal in me.
So today's show is really going to be dedicated to sex and black people. We really don't get into these type of discussions. Usually we're doing other stuff, but today, people been asking us for a while to talk about some of these issues with sex and relationships and weddings and couples and all that. So we're going to deep dive into all of that today. Please share your comments. Give us ideas. You have questions. You need advice. Please feel free to come on here and let us know what's happening.
And shoot your shot. Now, it's very interesting today. My parents usually watch the show, so
I promise to be PG.
We will talk about the topics, none of which I am participating in because it's pandemic.
Whatever.
And people have COVID.
Whatever. I never said I'm doing the show by myself.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm here with you. And trying to share, like you guys who are joining us on Facebook, if you want to actually leave a comment so that we can see it in real time, go to Aderumi's Facebook page. Because I think it's really, your Facebook page is where the comments come in that pop up on the screen.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'll put that up as well.
I'm going to try to go over and get tested now myself.
I'm going to put that up so people, catch me by my government name.
I know. And that's what I kind of feel like.
So all my friends can reach me directly.
Yes.
On Facebook.
So I'm going to your page now. And usually I go and there I am, right there it's live. I have to turn down that volume. I am. So if you're joining us live on Facebook right now, drop a comment so we can see you there, just to kind of test it out. So I'll say hi to you guys. Hello.
So, what sparked this today was one of my friends, Nicole. She's like my, I used to call her my daughter. She's too old to be my real daughter, but I feel like, a father figure to her. She's one of my employees, one of our training family massive, posted on her page today that, people better stop coming for Major Hype.
They better stop.
Because right now he's being canceled all over the universe.
Right.
If you don't know what happened, Ms. Donatella, can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
So please make the reaction in my eyes indicate that I did not know I was sharing it. So, I'm going to take a little time to be a little serious because if you're from Brooklyn, and all the real people are, you know Major Hype. You supported him over the years. You know him by his government. And I am a friend of his, a friend of his platform. And so
I love his videos.
Yeah, he's very gifted. I like him as a person as well. So I have to say that it's a little difficult for me to talk about it because I know him personally, right?
And please, people, we are speaking from observers, passerbys. We do not have any inside intel.
Absolutely.
Do not take anything we say as the gospel.
Absolutely.
We are just on mics and video giving our opinions based on all the information that's out there.
Right.
So don't convict, don't crucify us, don't crucify anyone. It's just an opinion that we're sharing.
Well, and being responsible, I will have to tell you that I have not listened to the multiple videos that his wife has posted on Facebook. I have seen them. But in hearing for me, you know, last week there was a picture of a video that he posted on Instagram where he was in the hospital. I personally, if you go to that feed, wrote a little prayer and wished him well because I like what he's doing for the community, how he's inspiring people. And immediately, you know, since it's a pandemic, you start hearing rumors. So it's my understanding that David Levy had a show one Sunday night and he aired that he had COVID. And so I reached out to a couple of people I know who are in the entertainment business because I was concerned. We have had a lot of Black and brown people pass from COVID during the pandemic, and seeing him in the hospital, you know, it really made me concerned. But I later found out that he did not have COVID and that he was in the hospital allegedly for suffering from a minor heart attack. So then I went back and I wrote another comment because, again, you know, I think we have an interesting diet. I'm not saying he has an interesting diet, but historically, you know, we people of color eat some really good tasting fried food. Perfect example, I'm eating fried chicken from Amarachi right now, dipping it in a big pile of ketchup, which probably has more salt, right? You know, we traditionally, we had challenges with the sugar. So it was my understanding that he was in the hospital for a minor heart attack. Now, I use social media a little differently. I tend to try and follow people that inspire me or people I've never met who are in geographical areas I've never visited so that I can get a better understanding of what's out there in the world and add to my bucket list. But then all of a sudden today, like at 3 o'clock, I started getting WhatsApp messages, my DM was blowing up, people were texting me and asking me my opinion of, you know, what's allegedly happening with Major Hype, and I had no idea what was going on. And so within a matter of moments, it was explained to me that when he posted his picture and he was in the hospital, it was from suffering a minor heart attack, which I hear he's making a recovery from, but that yesterday he went on a mad rant on social media speaking about one individual that allegedly has been trying to date his wife. And I didn't even know they were married. I thought she was a fiance. So I'm not sure if they're married or if she's a fiance or not. But allegedly, you know, he's putting it out there. Whenever he sees this person, it's on and popping. And I guess they're supposed to fight. Which, you know, it would be nice if it is a fist fight because people don't fight anymore. They grab for guns, and I think he's in Georgia, and that's an open carry state, so you have to be concerned about it. But what was disappointing to me as a woman, with She Live and Amarachi restaurant, so customers will be coming in and out, and we like to greet them. You have to be concerned about the videos that he allegedly put on the internet, which are really racy. And, you know, she's not cool. It's sexually explicit. And as a woman, that is heartbreaking to me. So I think if people are starting to try and cancel him, I think you have to remember that at the end of the day, we're all human. And I'm not saying to excuse his behavior. He's definitely wrong.
Okay, so I have a few questions just from what you were able to ascertain.
Yes.
Now, did this incident happen recently?
So again, right, with hours of notice, and I'm not picking up the phone and calling Major and be like, hey, what happened? Allegedly, which incident? Because I think that's the discussion.
Okay, well, so let's establish two things that we're discussing. Obviously, we're discussing the abuse that she claims has been going on for quite some time in their home. That's one issue. And this aspect of, is it cheating? Is it cheating? It's cheating, obviously, if it happened recently and they're in a relationship. So we want to know, one, is this something that happened recently, or is this something that happened before they got together? And he's upset because now that they're together, something like this should not be going around on the internet to embarrass himself and his family.
He's the one that put the video out, first of all.
Oh, see what I'm talking about. Why the hell would I leak the video?
So allegedly, this is what I understand happened. In legal terms, they tell you you say it is my understanding, so you're not stating it specifically. It is my understanding that he found a video on her phone, a sexually explicit video on her phone, with her having sexual contact with someone other than himself. So what I understand is that she has alleged that the video is over 10 years old. She's also said that he's been abusing her continuously.
Okay, let's stop right there real quick. Why in the world does this woman have a video of another man having sex with her in her phone for over 10 years? So that means that she has been, hold on, she's been transferring that data because I'm sure she's not rocking the same phone for the past 10 years.
Okay, so that's the easy one, right? I have an iPhone 12. I have 40,000 pictures and videos on my phone. And with an iPhone, every time there's an update, every time you do a backup, it backs up your data. Now, if it is 10 years old, and people are saying there's no way it could be 10 years old, yes, T.I., anything you can bring me to drink, I would appreciate it. So I have to order my beverage. So for me, I am sure there are videos, not me, but of somebody's son on my phone from years ago. So and it just keeps updating and it keeps backing up.
Okay, so my question is it socially responsible for you to keep a picture, a sexual video, an X-rated video of you and another person? And should you keep that video when you enter a new relationship, especially a marriage?
So,
do you think it's appropriate?
Okay, so two things, and then my reasons will be different. Number one, I do not condone making sexually explicit videos, although I hear that on Pornhub, that is one of the huge attractions to Pornhub, because everyday ordinary people are able to take videos of themselves, upload it to the site, and depending on the views, it becomes monetized, and they're making money. So that's number one.
She doesn't need any money.
No, we're not saying that, but I'm just talking about why some people do it. Right? And anything that she did in her past is her past, right? I think it's not wise. I won't say not socially responsible. I think it's not wise to have hey, Baba Room, number one, you got the power. Excellent. Thanks for your comment. I think it's not wise to have that type of content on your phone or your hard drive in this given day and age, because people hack your accounts, phones are lost, if you don't have a password. And for me personally, I would even say she might be innocent. I mean, it's obviously her. I did see about 2 seconds of the video in order to, maintain some dignity for her or privacy. I did not watch the video in full, right? But, and she's not filming. The gentleman was filming the video. And I think earlier on in technology, a lot of people, before they really got into it, still relied on a certain amount of love and respect from the person you're dealing with. Right? I'm sure when she made the video, she never thought it would end up on the internet. And so from seeing that video, the cause of his heart attack allegedly is that there was a physical altercation. I even understand that he was like, I think she said in one of the videos that he was trying to cut his wrist in front of her. So I think
So he's found this video
on her phone,
and he wanted to cut his wrist, and at the same time he was beating her.
Allegedly, yes, because we don't want to be sued for defamation of character.
Allegedly. So allegedly he started beating her, and at the same time wanted to slit his wrist. And subsequently had a heart attack. All because of this video.
Mm-hmm. Because of that interaction. And then I also understand that he has threatening bodily harm to this person. And allegedly his name is Yankee Boy, the person that he's ranting about. No idea who he is. I don't think he's supposed to be a celebrity. He's like some regular person. But for me, the aha moment or the disappointing moment, besides the fact that he put his hands on her, was that he took the time to post a picture in the hospital asking people to pray for him. And so I think that's a heavy play on empathy and sympathy from your fans who have no reason, who don't know why you're in the hospital. You know, so for me, you're thinking, oh my goodness, someone I like, someone I appreciate, someone I respect, someone that I like seeing do well is now in the hospital at a very troubling time. Like nobody wants to be in the hospital during COVID. You know, and then to hear her, to know that he allegedly took this video and put it out to the internet, me especially, I mean, because I've been dealing with a similar situation, it's the worst thing you can do to a person. There's no privacy. That puts her in physical danger because there are crazy people out there. So there are people now who've seen her in an intimate way, and a lot of creeps are looking at it and maybe replicating that vision in their head over and over again. You can never give that back to her.
But I think that's also why it's irresponsible to have something like that in a position where it can be compromised.
Well, but if it's on your phone and you're married, and you know, I'm thinking if he was able to get in her phone, maybe she doesn't have a password.
Does she like going back to that to view those times?
You don't have to.
Like for me personally, I've never recorded anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just don't see the value in it. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not telling people how to live their lives. No.
I'm sorry.
But I just don't see the value, especially because of exactly this can happen. Someone may see it and take it completely out of context, and it can ruin a completely wonderful relationship.
Well, no, this incident has ruined more than that, right? So let's talk about the business perspective of it. It has ruined his credibility. It has ruined her credibility. It is embarrassing and degrading to both of their families. Endorsers, people who support the brand are now second guessing. Because to me, people only love you as long as the last couple of seconds of your likeliness, right? So right now, people are really going after him. I think he recently was endorsed by some large soca organization, and people are trying to cancel him.
And let's be clear, he's being canceled because of the physical abuse that he allegedly rendered to his lady, his wife, and she proclaims for him to be a wife beater, that this is something that he's done, which is horrible. I mean, you know, there's nothing worse than a man that beats a woman. That's just that's the vilest accusation and vilest thing someone can be. Being that we're physically stronger, bigger, more dangerous, and to just be to take on a woman's vulnerability and just exploit it in that way is just the biggest cowardice, act of coward anyone can display. And I'm very disappointed. I mean, as much as I love his stuff, if this stuff is true, of course it impacts how you support his brand. I don't want to watch it. That stuff ain't funny to me though.
Well, I think on top of that, right? You also have to worry about the accountability and how it impacts their children, right? So he has kids. Those kids now have to see their father being portrayed in a negative way. In the media. And it was interesting. I'll tell you one thing I thought of instantly, not related, but I'm sure to some degree, whoever was a hot topic yesterday, I think everybody's starting to forget about Nate Robinson because now they have this other kind of social person who's very viral. you know. So I'm really sorry because I like Major Hype as a person. I like him as a brand. He's done a lot of accomplishments. I remember a year or so ago when he was named King of Caribbean Comedy, something like that, and there were a lot of promotions all over the city. It was huge.
I mean, to me, if these things are true, it's just frightening that you can be such a public figure and do something so crazy. Like, how do you lose it and know that you would jeopardize everything you've worked so hard to build by having this horrible character flaw?
Well, I think in the heat of the moment, right? So let's go back to those very old time sayings where there's a very thin line between love and hate. And people act in the moment. Maybe that was, disregarding what she says, maybe that was a temporary act of insanity. Seeing the video, becoming enraged. And it has a lot to do with ego as well, right?
But she accused him of having this history.
Well, so I'm saying, I don't know if he's been doing this all the time. I'm explaining why his sudden reaction that time and triggering a heart attack, I don't know what to say. I'm very surprised. And as you talk to different people, so I talked to some people in Brooklyn, it's very hard for a lot of Brooklyn men to actually make comments because people like him so much. You know?
Well, from what I gather, most of the opinions out there are very negative towards him.
In terms of this situation?
In terms of the situation, and everyone wanting to cancel him and cancel his brand.
And I think his birthday is either coming up or just passed. But I know he has a really huge show in Atlanta next week. And, he's very good with pre-sales. So I'm wondering how that's going to impact the venue. People have purchased tickets to come out to a show, and now this breaks. Would it even be wise for him to show up to that show? Right?
Well, I mean, he has to think honestly about canceling the show at this point.
Well, not if he's unable to refund all those tickets, right? Because just think about it. It's a really trying economic time for individuals. Lots of times we promote shows, we promote events. That money's going to secure the venue. And if you cancel...
I think that would cause so much more hysteria if he actually shows up to try to do a show. And because people are going to want an explanation.
Yeah,
his fans are going to want to know that he wasn't beating on his wife. His fans are going to want to know that.
A lot of them are. Except for the ones who have similar actions. And unfortunately, domestic abuse during the last 7, 8, 9 months has gone up 1,000%.
And you're going to have a lot of people, women's group protesting him.
Mm-hmm.
So him even having the opportunity to have a platform to speak, considering that he's an abuser.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that has already started. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm enjoying my fried chicken. I realize.
Can I bring some watermelon? Would you like some watermelon?
Hey, I was born in Alabama. I'm good with it. And I have mac and cheese.
Yes. No. That's So I mean, we're not going to delve too much into their personal business, but we just thought it was an interesting topic to discuss today. Mm-hmm. But we're going to continue in talking about how to deal with, as a woman, how to deal with abuse, how to deal with an abusive boyfriend, an abusive man. I'm a father of 2 young girls, and we're already starting to have conversations. I treat my kids like adults.
Yes, I see. And they teach you.
Listen, we're not talking about sex. I'm not bringing that up. But when it comes to literally everything else, I treat them like they're 30-year-olds. They wash dishes, they clean, they do laundry, they cook breakfast, they cook whenever they're hungry. And we have all kinds of good conversations and topics. So when it comes to a lot, relationships with men or the opposite sex, or even just interpersonal relationships, not allowing them to be, not, don't allow yourself to be bullied. And if you can't handle the bully, you make sure you speak up and make sure someone can.
So I'm going to give you my reply to that. But first, I want to say thank you, Dark Sahid 346. By all means, if you feel comfortable sharing your story of abuse in our comments with our followers, please do.
We will post it.
Try not to use any images because we don't want to violate Facebook's community rules, right? So with me trying to be a bit transparent, I forget what the statistic is of the amount of women of color or women in general who've been the subject of domestic violence or abuse of different things. I'm sorry. I have to laugh. Do you need that comment? Please post that comment.
No, I'm not doing that. Why would I do that?
Because it's transparency.
Cool. Nah, you good. I'm good.
So we're going to turn down the mics a little bit. So let me get some clarity and more information about how we stream.
We don't need to do. Just keep doing it. We don't need to explain everything.
You have to engage the comments.
You don't need to explain everything. Just go.
Oh my goodness, I'm being vetoed here.
Just keep going what you're doing.
So back to what I was saying. I feel like Petey's in the room. So, trying to have a little clarity and just talking. There are more people than not who have encountered some type of verbal or physical abuse. Back in the early 2000s, I had my first encounter with a partner who was verbally and physically abusive. And when you're in the moment, lots of times there are different reactions. For me, I thought I could change that individual. And it took me maybe 2 years to realize, 2 years, moving twice, having the police come to my home, having friends, male friends tell me they want to beat the shit out the person. But what changed for me was when I'll never forget it. I drove my car up on the sidewalk at 49th and Clarkson to run the person over with my vehicle. And the police happened to be in the area. And what's interesting about women and men is that authorities or people in general usually gravitate to the woman first, right? And so in that instance, I was driving a convertible car and the person was trying to pull me out of my car. But he was trying to pull me out of my car at that point because I was trying to run him over, to be honest. But when the police got out, they had the guns drawn. They threw him on the hood of my car. And I realized in that instance, he could have easily been shot to death. I could have been shot to death. And at that point, I was like, that's enough for me. So I went home, packed all his shit, called his mama, and told her to come get him. But for other people that I've spoken to, it's very hard to help someone who's in a verbally or physically abusive relationship because there's a lot to it, and until that person is ready to get out of it, it's really hard to stop them from doing it.
Just to piggyback on one of the things you're saying, when we talk of abuse,
you're really low now.
Okay, when we talk about abuse, it's not really just a one-way street.
Yeah.
A lot of men, young men, boys, grown men, face abuse from their women.
Or parents.
Or girlfriends or what have you. And it takes, I know I've been physically assaulted by women a lot of times. I mean, it's very important how you react to it. I think you have to understand that, listen, you can't just retaliate. You can't just, well, she hit me in the face, so I'm going to hit. No, you can't do that. You have to restrain her. You have to ask her to stop. You have to restrain her and tell her, and listen, and if she won't stop, you actually have to leave.
And
You have to leave.
agree.
You just leave the plate, leave the premises, leave
I
the
think it's
area.
harder for men, especially men of color, in those situations because of the stigmas and stereotypes that are attached to
We have to
men.
get over this tough guy. We all, if you can destroy this person with your hands. You don't need to prove that.
No, that's not what I was saying.
Okay.
I was saying in instances where men are being abused by women, because it does happen.
It happens a lot.
You have a lot of women who are verbally abusive, stripping the man of their masculinity. And my friends have told me that, when I get upset, my tongue is not too nice. Sometimes the more intelligent you are, the more wicked you are to people because you have a broader, a wider range of vocabulary. And it's not something to laugh at, but there are a lot of associations, and I will tell you, here we're based in New York. Here in New York, you have Safe Horizons, and these are entities. Anybody can send me a DM, send me a text, send me a WhatsApp. These are entities that I have used profusely in the last 6 years. You have Safe Horizons, which is for men and women. Predominantly women I've seen go there. You have Brooklyn Kings County domestic family abuse system. It's inside the family court office. They will help you in terms of getting someone to talk to, and it all comes back again to mental health and mental wellness. Because usually when you're being physically abused, it's mentally debilitating. You become embarrassed. I remember when someone started stalking me in 2014, I walked into a police station and tried to report it, and I'll never forget the first time I did it in East New York. A domestic violence NYPD police officer looked at me and said, these were his exact words. He said to me, "Oh, I know why he won't leave you alone. That cat must be fired." That is
That's
a
crazy.
NYPD domestic violence.
I hope you reported him.
You know what I did do at the moment? I listened to him and I looked him in the eye and I said, as a non-black NYPD police officer speaking to me, be alert and aware that I do know how to contact internal affairs. And unlike a lot of people who probably come into the police station in East New York, I'm educated and I know my rights. And immediately, there were 2 female black officers who were sitting in the police station at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even turn around when he made his remark. But once I mentioned internal affairs and accountability, all of a sudden it was like, oh, let me get up and help this sister. The unfortunate part is that New York State is known for a lot of things. New York State is a sanctuary state for people who need assistance. New York State is the best state to live in residentially if you want to stay in your apartment without moving, because they tend to cater to tenants instead of landlords. But when it comes to domestic violence, New York has one of the most lax laws against abusers. It's actually very, very hard to get someone arrested and incarcerated for domestic abuse unless they have used a weapon and drawn blood and almost killed you.
I want to ask a question. Why do people stay? If you're in an abusive relationship,
Why do they stay?
Why do you stay?
So I'm of the opinion, based on my experience, I'm fortunate that I'm intelligent. I've had resources, meaning monetary. I had insurance. I have doctors. So for me, I didn't have to. And for the last 6 years in trying to battle my own instance with someone stalking me, and I've moved 15 times, right? I'm able to always stay one step ahead. But I think a lot of people stay in marriages, even where there's no domestic abuse, because financially they're not able to go out on their own and give themselves the same lifestyle that they're accustomed to. Educationally, they're not able to go out and seek employment, because we still have a lot of, I think, relationships where the men are providers and the women have been home for years and years taking care of children. So if they're getting beat, they're getting cheated on, they're getting yelled at, They're underappreciated. It's more difficult for them to face going out into the world and starting over, especially if they have kids, right? Than staying home and dealing with the devil that they know instead of the unknown. And that's my belief. My belief is if all women were as educated and financially stable as most men, the minute a man says something to them, or we're not living in a time where there's like 59 million genders. So if each person was as educated and financially stable as the other, the minute they didn't like what that person said, they'd be out the door. And that, I think, we found out during the pandemic, right? These people who somebody works during the day, somebody works at night, they're now stuck in the house all the time together. They realize they don't even know each other. They don't like each other. But they had to stay together because one of those individuals can't survive on their own. That's just my belief. And then for women of color who don't date outside of their race, there's not a lot of single, professional, educated, positive-minded men who are available who are heterosexual. So that's like right now during the pandemic, I'm not doing anything. Everybody I know is either married, engaged, living with someone, and so I don't know how people are doing all this hooking up during the pandemic. That's the part of sex and dating, COVID, and whatever. I don't know how they're doing it.
Well, you see a lot of illegal parties happening, and I think that's what's fueling the popularity of these parties. People's sexual their libido. I mean, they're tired of being cooked up at home, and they go out, they get drunk, they get high, and they get horny.
Well, I think that's not fair, right?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that it provides now more opportunities for that to happen.
But there's a certain amount of medical facts that says that each human needs a certain amount of interaction with another human being, whether it's verbal, mental stimulation, a touch. So not everybody who goes out to a party, I believe, is going into a party.
Nobody said everybody.
But I want to make sure that we say that, right?
Okay.
That a lot of people are going out just for the company, for the atmosphere, to have fun, and then they're going back home. So not everybody who goes out is trying to hook up, have a one-night stand. But my thing is, especially with social media, like right now, I am most in love with someone on my Snapchat who I've never met before, I've never seen, but we communicate, we speak. They look perfect in the 10 little seconds that I see them every day, and that's satisfying, because the other choice is, going out and meeting someone new. How do you go on a date? So
it's very easy. You call Amarachi and say, "Hey, can I have a table of two on a Friday night?" And we'll sit you right in the corner, and you have some nice wine, some excellent food, have a great conversation.
Yes.
You would be on your way to decide if this is someone you want to date.
Not with a new person. Because let me explain. Let's say I go on what type? Tinder or a Christian Mingles, whatever it is, right?
Okay.
So let's say I go on a dating app. I'm swiping to the left, up, down, whatever it is. I see somebody, I click on it. Oh, I want to meet him and go out. Think about it. It is a pandemic. I am wearing a mask every time I'm outside, and now I'm going to go have a date with a stranger and sit at a table with his mask off? No, you got to ask for their COVID test.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, we're not doing that.
Listen.
Is anybody watching the show who's on a dating app? I want to know, are you asking people if they tested?
Right now, this very week, there's spots right here downtown Brooklyn. You can go get a free COVID test and have your answer in minutes. We did it this week. So if you're serious about dating and you really want to be safe and you want to know, it's free.
Okay, we've got to address the sound for a moment.
Okay,
what about the sound? Because it sounds perfect. Is the music too loud? Is it unclear? Because now we have multiple people. Someone said we need a new sound system to match the beautiful lighting. And so we tried something different today. We're using headphones.
It sounds great in the headphones.
Yeah, but what we need is T.I.
We need our resident
Nah.
producer who's off today.
I'm gonna have one. I'm gonna have
No,
some.
you know what? What we're
We just
gonna do?
need
I'm gonna
someone.
check. I'm gonna check on my phone.
No, I was gonna say just have one of the beautiful ladies here, Ti and Erica, in the restaurant, and have them launch their apps.
I'm gonna do it while you're having a conversation.
Yeah, but I did it. It sounds clear to me on my Facebook.
I'm gonna put my headphones on.
So I appreciate it. Thank you, Jules.
So continue on about the question.
So Jules said, "Oh my goodness, Jules, please don't lose you. I'm fighting with Facebook to get my last name removed. Jules is on, and he's saying he doesn't. You don't understand my assessment. So Jules, I am speaking of myself. I was in an abusive relationship in 2000, between 2006 and 2008, and then since 2014 to now, I've been actually dealing with someone stalking me. So I am talking about my assessment of what I endured and my thoughts about why some people stay in marriages. And that's based on the various chat groups that I'm in with women and men. So I know a lot of people. When I say a lot, I'm talking about more than 10 couples. A lot of people who are married, who are having extramarital affairs, and they stay in those relationships because they love the person they're with, they like the lifestyle that they're living, and one, whether it's a man or the woman, doesn't feel the need to leave that relationship because they have basically what they want at home, but they enjoy extracurricular activities. I know some people who are in, we probably should turn the music down some. I know people who are in abusive relationships, and when I speak to some of those partners, the men don't want to say anything. They don't want to leave their wife. They don't want to be embarrassed when they come out and they speak to their homeboy and they say, "Oh, last night I'm at home and my wife is slapping me around." I can't slap her back. I'm a man. Because if I call the police are going to come in and they're going to immediately take her side. Right? So that's just my opinion. Leslie, it's unclear. The sound is not clear. So that's what they're saying. So we're going to try and work on the sound. Some weeks it's very, very clear. We're, new to this podcasting. We are filming live within Amarachi restaurant. And tonight we actually do have the music on kind of loud as well. And so right now we're fiddling around with the board. Ooh, that just got really clear. I don't know what just happened then because I have the headsets on so I can hear the audio, and the audio sounds perfect for me. Thank you, Leslie. Bob just said the same thing. So Leslie said it has nothing to do with the music. The music is not bothering us. It's just the verbiage. I guess you're not, my articulation is not clear. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you, Leslie. Leslie, if you're anywhere around Amarachi, you come in right now and I'll treat you to a cocktail, young lady. Try to get a ride, that way you're not driving, drinking and driving. And New York State law is if you're dining inside or outside during the pandemic, you have to buy something to eat. So come in, get an appetizer. Ooh, the sound just went out in my ear completely. So, thank you, Leslie. Oh, Liz is my new best friend. Hi, Erica. You guys come out and see beautiful Erica. She's delivering some cocktails in here now. Anyway, and by no means am I trying to offend anyone. I think everybody's experiences are unique and different. And so I can only speak about mine. I know for me, I didn't really tell anybody my latest incident with someone stalking me. I told my employer, I told my 5 lawyers, and I told only some of my family members because, the taboo for our culture to me, I don't think black people. There's just certain things we don't talk about. We don't talk about. We don't talk about rape. We don't talk about incest. We don't talk about anything that's embarrassing to our families. And maybe other cultures are the same way, but I can only speak about myself. And lots of times, I think back in the day, um, people, you go to your mom or you go to your auntie or you go to your cousin or you go to whomever, and they typically tell you, shh, don't, we'll take care of it. Or what they do is, what I found when you try to get help is the first question they ask you is, what did you do to cause this person to do that? And so at this moment right now, I have literally since April of 2014, I have literally moved 15 times because of this person who is stalking me. And so today is what, like December what?
Today is December 3rd.
December 3rd, 2020. In 6.5 years of this person stalking me, and that means calling myself, calling my friends, calling my family. And what people don't know is, do you know that it's really easy for a person to get access to your personal information? So the person stalking me was able to subpoena my entire phone record for an entire year. So that means the person received all of my text messages, the numbers I sent to, the phone calls, and this person happens to be a civil engineer. And this is actually next month. I'm just waiting for a little more money for this attorney. I'm actually going public with everything because I think people need to understand. So imagine, Bub, I'm stalking you. You have an order of protection against me, and then I subpoena your telephone record from your service provider. Did you know that Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, when they receive legal documents for your records, they don't even have to tell you. They don't have to tell you at all. And this person got my records, and then because he's an engineer, he was able to map and pinpoint every location where I sent to receive the call.
I really don't understand.
Turn it. I can't hear you.
I said I really don't understand what it means to be I would we have this show and stuff, and I would love, just like I talked about, I would love to have drug dealers on. I would love to have some criminals on, just to get their perspective. I mean, what the hell is wrong with these people? What is wrong with an abuse? Someone stalking you, doing all of that for
what? Most of those people have mental illness.
How do you think it ends?
But you're talking about people. The person who's stalking me at the very same time was stalking a young lady in Connecticut who I literally went to court. They used my cases as precedent for her. And she decided to quit her job, relocate, and I think she even changed her name because my attorneys couldn't find her later on in the year when I needed her to come and testify at my court hearings. But you have to remember, mental illness is a real and prominent thing.
Absolutely, it is, and we shouldn't minimize it. But how does one? And this is the thing: how does one get themselves checked out? How does one say, you know what? I think I'm mentally ill. Well, I need help. How? Where do you go? Like, what?
Okay, so New York State. Again, I'm sorry, I just put a piece of chicken in my mouth. New York State in the last couple of years, especially Brooklyn, has had some really huge issues with people who have mental illness being shot and killed by NYPD when they were supposed to be apprehending them. It's happening nationally, but every state has a health board, like New York State Health.
You know what I think?
On their website, they have telephone numbers, they have services. But think about it. Is a person with a mental illness going to know that they have a mental illness?
That's what I'm saying. I think there has to be a hotline. Like when you think someone needs help, you should be able to call, just like how you nominate people for, and say, listen, I don't think this person is well. Because look, I have a best friend that I've known forever. Well, he's not my best friend anymore, but the guy has problems.
Mm-hmm.
And before he kills himself, he needs to get help. Or he may get killed, or he might, like I said, he's endangering himself and everyone around him.
But
and to him, he's perfectly mentally sound.
And that's what you call, and I only learned this because of the person who's stalking me, that's what you call someone who is a psychotic. So people who are psychotic, they live in an alternative reality, but they believe that reality to be true. But you know what is even more hurtful is when a person like me reaches out to friend A, B, C, and D and say, "Hey, this is what is happening to me. Help me." And the people look at you like, "What'd you do to him?" Or they don't believe you. And what happens is, sorry,
While
that,
she's choking on her chicken, I will continue the conversation.
yeah, and make sure you all know that's not the pandemic cough, because you can't cough in public anymore. People look at you like, "Ooh." No, what I was gonna say is, think about any television show where you've seen where a person is accused of a crime or a rape victim. The victim begins to become ostracized by the community, right? So think about all those law shows when someone is on trial and they're saying, "Hey, this person raped me." The prosecutors or the community, the media, they begin to ask that person, "What were you wearing at the time? Where were you? What did you say to that person?" And that should not happen. You're talking about, I'll never forget. Remember that huge Mike Tyson rape case with the young girl? Everybody crucified this young female for her being in a hotel room with Mike Tyson. It happened again with Kobe Bryant.
Wait. Hold on. Listen. Once again, we're talking two crazy people. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson has no business being in there with her, and she doesn't have any business being there with him.
But because Mike Tyson was crazy back then.
He's always been crazy, allegedly. But what is a 14, 15-year-old girl doing in that situation?
That shouldn't have even been an issue. Talking about rape. That's if she was 14 or 15. I don't remember how old
she was like 14 from what I remember. It was ridiculous.
But then that becomes a pedophilia. And he should be in jail
Mike
with
said he didn't know. I think it was Lawrence Taylor. I think I'm talking about Lawrence
Taylor.
Oh,
LT?
Yeah.
LJ or whatever his name was.
But
he stayed in trouble.
He stayed in trouble. It's crazy. Like I just think we have, as a society, we have some deep-seated, deep-rooted issues, and truly, we have no real means to address them.
No, we do. Our biggest problem in our community is this: see something, don't say anything.
Because look, even just like what we were talking about with Major Hype, everybody's dumping on him for beating her, right? Mm-hmm. And no one is talking about, wait a minute. This is a married woman. What is she doing having sex in a filthy bathroom with another guy?
But the question is that oh my God, it's the
and I'm saying they're equally horrible.
Well, no, that's only was the video created now. So
exactly with that pretense. Obviously, yes, that's what we're
someone said to me. There's no way that video could be.
No one believes that it's 10 years old. I looked at it. I don't think it's 10 years old.
Flip the camera back to me for a second. So anybody who knows me knows that I have looked this way for a good 25 years. And so people are always asking, how old I am, and she might just have good genes. With women of color, the beautiful thing about our melanin is that unless we've had a hard life and like our face was scraped on the ground, we look flawless.
Donatella, that can be cleared up real quick if that dude just comes out and say, "Yo, that shit happened 6 months ago."
Well, that guy, I don't think he would do that. Whoever that person is.
And look, he got locks, so you could tell. You could tell. I mean, were his locks short? I mean, did he have? You could tell. Are they the same size? So I said, he could bring clarity to the situation.
No,
very quickly.
But here's what people are not thinking about. Everybody's talking about Major Hype and his wife. That is a guy who was involved in a consensual act whenever it happened. For all we know, that guy is married now. That guy could be, and he had on glasses. He looked a little intelligent to me. That could be like a VP in some
No, he's a
organization.
soca artist.
No, it's not that person you said. So there are a couple rumors that person's name is Moto. That's not who that is. Someone else told me that I think he is the Yankee Boy person, or just some random
Is
person.
Yankee Boy a soca artist?
I don't know, but what my source said is that the person that Major Hype is ranting about is an individual named Yankee Boy, and he's just some regular person. And so I found it very interesting. Like 5 people said that to me. He's a regular person. And I said, what do you mean regular? Because the last time I looked, all men have the same equipment. You mean he doesn't have any celebrityism?
Meaning that he's not a soca artist.
Well, but then if you're already in the limelight, if your mate is in the limelight, you're not going to go out with someone else. And here's my question. And Major Hype, we're friends. I'm a friend of your brand. I'm a friend of you. But I'm also a woman first. My question is, there's karma. And so I believe that everything comes around in some form or shape. And I'm just wondering if throughout their marriage, because he travels a lot, I think what's going to happen now is that people who've been with either person, let's say there are other people out there, because everybody loves to jump on the bandwagon and get 5 minutes of fame. Now,
all of that.
I'm just praying that there's no one else who comes out regarding either one of them to say, hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black because we blah 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 blah.
What's really sad to me is that about a month of 6 weeks ago, Major Hype was in the hospital with his son, and the lady there, I guess the son had some kind of procedure, and they look like a really cool family. And it's just
and it still
to
could
see
be
this happen.
But you know what?
Like, it's unbelievable. But that's why I said, like,
but this happens every day in relationships. It's just because Major Hype is popular and he has social. He's an influencer, and with his wife, I heard that her Instagram page was private until like the last 48 hours. And she went public because she's probably saying one or two things, right? She's probably saying, this guy has all this popularity. He's released this video. He's got me looking like whatever. I need to defend myself.
See, that's what I said. Like, to be honest, they wouldn't know. He ain't got nobody looking like nothing. She's in that position, and it was her phone. She put it in her phone.
It doesn't matter.
She put herself in that position.
It doesn't matter.
What
happened to...
This is where we're going to defer.
No, but what happened to privacy? Now, let's be clear. Listen, I'm going to say this again. There are no sexually explicit videos of moi in my phone. You can't be
doing that in a funky-ass bathroom. And be recorded and keep it on your phone.
What if
and then your husband sees it?
What if this was 10 years ago, like she said, and that is her partner? No, and that was her partner at the time. And
download it to a file or computer and tuck it away.
What's the difference? It could have been tucked away. I know people right now who have Androids or iPhones. They have special apps to hide footage. They type in a little code, it opens up a whole nother platform, and they have all their sexually explicit
videos. If you care about your partner, I'm speaking to you right now. If you care about whoever you're with, please delete, get rid of all the trash in your phone, in your private, that person you love could see and possibly put them in a goddamn hospital. Okay? We wouldn't be having this conversation if that piece of evidence didn't exist.
No, we would not be having this conversation if Major Hype had not been in his feelings, allegedly acting less than a man, and
than a man.
because no, I'm not talking about the abuse. I'm not talking about the abuse. And there are different forms of abuse. What he is doing right now is trying to bully her in society. He is taking his influencer.
It's not bullying.
No,
it
actually is. No. The definition of bullying is when you have a weaker or lesser individual and you are subjecting
your strength onto them. So as a social media influencer, he took it upon himself allegedly to take a sexually explicit video and launch it into the atmosphere. That is what he did. And so that is bullying her on social media. That is degrading, it is belittling, and more importantly, and I'm speaking
It's
as
all
a
of that.
I'm speaking
I
as
agree
a
with all of
woman,
that.
it is putting her in danger,
I agree. Okay.
right? And as a result, if she had a friend like me in her ear, the first thing I would be saying is, A, it's time to get a lawyer. B, it's time to get therapy. C, it's time to take this moment where you have society's ear and see how you can pivot this and transition it into a non-for-profit or a platform where you can help other people if she's really been subjected to physical and verbal abuse for years.
Okay. So what's our teaching moment? What are we telling people? How do you avoid this? All right.
I think they
Because in my book,
recognize the
prevention
signs.
is better than cure.
It is,
If
but
you're in an abusive relationship, get out of it.
well,
Don't
it's
stay.
it's easier
Find
said
help.
than done. Everybody does not have your likeness.
Listen, it's not easy for me to live my life. Nothing in the world is easy. But
No,
you have to have principles. You have to have things you stand by.
principles have nothing to do with when you're being abused.
Yes,
All right,
you want. Listen, principle.
It's-
Listen,
it's
if
like
I
a
wasn't
jail
principal
with a
parent, listen. When this lady is smacking me on the back or smacks me on the face, right? Open hand, me totally not expecting. it.
first of all, I want to see the lady that was
Yeah,
brave
y'all
enough
do,
to,
y'all do. I know you do.
to
I know
smack
you do.
to smack
I
you.
smile a lot. I joke a lot. I play a lot. So it's not funny.
Well, there are some.
But listen, if I didn't walk away,
Mhm.
if I didn't just say, you know what, I'm just gonna,
Well, I think you walked away for a lot of reasons.
But-
a man of your size and your
No, this
demeanor
did not
could.
happen anytime
could
recently.
also-
This
Well, I know it better not have.
this
I'm gonna be
did
talking to
happen.
Max later.
Yeah, exactly. This did not happen anytime in the past 20 years. Let's say.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But if I still had the gumption to walk away.
But that's different from
It's
one.
not that hard.
No,
You
it is.
just walk
It is.
away.
No, Bub.
You just say, you
So,
know what?
no,
You're crazy.
No,
I'm out.
No,
See you
Bob,
later.
you come from a sound family foundation where respect, loyalty, your value in society was instilled in you from you were young. You have siblings who also provided a positive, nurturing environment. There are a lot of people who did not come from that type of environment. Therefore, when they encounter these types of behaviors, it's no difference in the person who is working in corporate America and is subjected to all types of verbal and physical abuse from a manager or a coworker. That's why you have the EEOC. So people I think when you start talking about sex, people think, oh, it's some foreign entity. No, these things happen in everyday life. And what we are seeing now, my takeaway point, people, take your cell phone, your laptop, your hard drive. If you have any type of incriminating pictures or videos, this is your wake up moment. This is your Jesus moment where you go into the cloud and you go into Google pictures, wherever, and you delete those items.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
This is the teaching moment. Prevention is better than cure. It is
Yes.
not worth the pain. Like I said, 6 weeks ago, with their kid in the hospital, he's coming out. They look wonderful, beautiful family. Oh my God, COVID. Thank God he didn't have COVID. And then 3 weeks later, this. It's a disaster. I mean, complete disaster.
Well, I
All
think,
because of something that could have been completely avoided.
well, I don't know that it could be completely avoided because I think, and again,
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm
I
saying.
did-
Let
I'm
me just
a-
land. Let
I'm
me
a-
just say,
okay.
completely avoided. If this happened, obviously, when she was not in a committed relationship with this man. So if she was single, she had freedom to do whatever she want with her body, wherever she wanted to do it with. That was her business.
but the teaching-
But once she once she got into this
yeah,
relationship,
but married people don't do that either.
don't do what?
I am of the
Don't
belief.
do what?
I'm of the belief
Don't
that
do what?
I'm
You
going to
said-
tell you.
okay.
I'm going to tell you. I am of the belief that everybody has a a secret, um, you know, a secret storage of text messages or pictures or emails or videos that remind them of their youth or a different point in their life where they felt something for someone. I've been going through my 40,000 pictures and videos on my phone because every time iPhone has a new device, they slow the older ones down. And I'm seeing pictures of people I don't even remember them. I can't even tell you their name, but I think sometimes you keep these things because they are part of your history. And we live in such a social media rich um, place in time that people like these pictures. And a lot of people are saying, hey, I'm not getting rid of this. This is part of who I am, who I was, who I will be. I just know, I hope anybody that I've known back in the day when the camera phones first came out and I thought I was cute, um, don't release anything into the universe on me. But Bob, I am going to tell you something that's funny. Recently, I think in the summertime, I think a lot of people are bored. A lot of people have WhatsApp, and WhatsApp has a feature called WhatsApp status. And so I have like over 1,000 contacts in my phone, and I actively go through and I block people from my WhatsApp status. But what's interesting, I see people posting their status in WhatsApp. I don't even remember meeting these people. And so someone reached out to me maybe like 2 months ago saying, hey, what's up? I haven't seen you in a long time. You look exactly the same. I remember when you were in love with me in like the 90s. And I'm looking at the picture like, who is this? And the person proceeded to tell me, oh, I have a lot of pictures that you used to send me when you were in college. And I instantly went, ooh.
Exactly my point.
It's weird.
And listen, you know what? You don't want these things to come bite you in the ass.
Yeah, but
right?
and I'm not
don't
saying
do them.
No,
don't
right?
do them.
But you
Don't
have
do 'em.
no,
and that's
yeah,
what I tell
but
my daughters.
You
now,
can say that now.
Don't do it.
The youth today, you
don't
have
do
to
it.
tell.
You know, it's just like the women that write the name of their boyfriends on their back. Come on, you're 19 years old.
Well, guys do it too. I know some guys that have written women's names across their chest. I had a friend. He had to take someone's name and change it into his mother's name after they didn't get married.
People just need to chill out. Chill out.
But that's easy. I think it's
There's so many other ways to express love and beautiful and all of that.
But what other way can you express eternity?
I love you, baby,
eternity
and I'll
love,
stay committed to you.
Putting a name
I won't put
on.
my piece in something else when I go out with my boys 2 nights later, which is what happens.
It depends.
There's a lot of ways to express genuine love without having to tattoo somebody's name on your ass.
People are different. Do you have any tattoos?
No.
Well, that's why you say that. You don't even like tattoos.
Exactly. It's stupid.
I don't think tattoos are stupid, but I will
when you're
tell
70 years old and you got a tattoo.
Well, okay, so that's what I always say.
Hot mama. Okay.
No. So what's really funny? I had 2 girlfriends that I was really close with. They're friends of Amarachi, Amanda and Melissa. In 2013, I went to Miami with them, and I've always wanted tattoos, but I'm a punk. I don't like I don't like pain.
Listen, I'm not saying people with tattoos are stupid. I'm just saying I think tattoos are stupid.
But I got a tattoo and I was so proud. First of all, I was screaming so loud, people came in off the street. They thought I was doing my whole back. I got a tattoo. I was so excited. I posted a picture at Eden Rock on Facebook, and my youngest brother came under my picture and he said, "Ooh, I'm telling mama you got a tramp stamp." I didn't even know what a tramp stamp was. And so I found out that I punked out and got this tattoo, and I got in the place where you're not supposed to get it.
So you got a tattoo?
Yeah, I have one tattoo.
You got a tramp stamp.
That means it's on like your lower, your at the bottom of your lower back. You can't even see it. And I took the picture off of Facebook. I was so embarrassed. And now I've got this thing just there.
Listen, I just say as Black people, we need to start respecting ourselves, our couples, our relationships a little bit better, a little bit stronger. Be careful what you text. It's very, very disappointing to see people break the hearts of their loved ones because they just can't keep their libido under check. And this stuff ruins families. It ruins, I remember when my parents were having difficulties, were having arguments, and they merely talked about separating. I almost couldn't study. Like, I wanted to drop out of school. So I can imagine what people go through that actually go through with, and my parents never divorced. They ended up working it out and staying together, but it's like people that actually have to go through divorces and this separation, it's extremely tough.
Well, I think
And it has an impact. I mean, I know how it
No, that's
impacted me
true.
as a kid. And I
Well,
would have not have graduated with honors because I was ready to, like, I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't read. I couldn't study. I
yeah,
couldn't do any homework.
people respond differently to separations. My parents separated when I was young, very young, and I will tell you, my mother just reminded me yesterday actually that I was a spoiled brat. Like, I was the kid that laid in the middle of the floor and threw temper tantrums when I didn't get my way. And I would have to say, I think as an adult, that's pretty much who I am. I'm very, very
When I catch
controlling.
you laid on the floor,
Kicking and
pour cold water on you.
kicking and screaming. No, it's true. Who we are. That I've read that children learn the most between ages 0 to 5. That's where they develop their character and who they will be. And children, to me, I don't have any, but I love kids. They're like little human recorders. Any action they see, they imitate it, they emulate it. And that's why I think that racism and prejudices are learned behaviors. Kids don't come out of the mother's vagina saying, "Oh, I hate black people. I don't like white people." They watch the behavior of those that they respect, their parents. So if the parents are loving to each other, they grow up being loving, usually, I think.
Absolutely.
If the parents are abusive,
Listen, and that's a good point because, and honestly, it would just say that, a lot of people may think, oh, I don't like white people and all that. But listen, my son, his best friends are white. So obviously I'm not sitting here spewing hatred.
right, you're
I just state
pro-black
facts.
and not,
I
there's
just state facts.
and there's a difference.
And that's
There's
important for because when we started homeschooling our children,
Mhm.
one of the things we did 2 years ago was world history.
Oh, your kids are homeschooled?
We did it 2 years ago, before the whole pandemic started.
I thought that was a made-up thing.
No,
I could not
we did it.
fathom
We did it.
people being homeschooled.
No, we did it.
So I grew up in Columbia, Maryland, and I thought the people who get homeschooled are the ones that get kicked out of school and they can't go back.
No, the most brilliant kids in the world are homeschooled. How do you think these kids get into college at 14? If you look at the numbers, most of them were homeschooled because
Wow.
you don't have to wait for everyone in your class to catch up. Once your kid grasps the concept, you just keep going and keep going.
You
and
know,
keep going.
there's a high school in Columbia called Wild Lake, and I'm in Aries, and Aries they always believe in the smartest person in the room. I had a lot of self-paced classes my freshman and sophomore year, and so I think I spent my entire life trying to outsmart people. So I would get my curriculum for the semester and sit and do everything. And you go and take your test by yourself. And then when I should be in class, I finish my work. I would go to the mall. and it was so funny. I used to go to the mall every day for lunch. That I entered my senior year. I entered a giveaway from Chick-fil-A. So you're not going to believe this. My senior year, I went to Chick-fil-A and I said, you know how they give away these things and you fill out these forms? I said, if every day I come at lunch and I take the whole book from Chick-fil-A, I have to win. But I was under 18. So I would fill it out in my mama's name. Do you know my mother won?
Really?
She won a car from Chick-fil-A my senior
That's
year.
amazing.
And my mother's very, very smart. She's actually my hero, even though I get into a lot of trouble with her. But my mother claimed the car and didn't even drive it off the lot and took the money for the car and then told me God was punishing me for impersonating her. And that was identity theft. And so because I'm not 18, so it's not my name. So I put my mother's name on everything, and my mother used that money to move us into a more beautiful townhome at the
That's
time.
wonderful.
It was smart.
You have some really fascinating stories, Donatella. Like,
Yeah,
we get
yeah.
to learn a whole lot more about you. every week.
My mother's probably gonna lay me out if she ever sees this. But yeah, I've learned a lot of lessons from my mom. It's true.
So yeah, we're gonna start wrapping up our show. We've had a wonderful time with you guys. We just wanted to touch into it deeply. I mean, lightly.
Yeah.
I think next week we'll get into some other issues, some Obama issues, some election, some political stuff.
Yeah, my huge thing, I'm going to campaign starting today. Well, I started on Monday. I need everyone, regardless to what state you're in, think small, support your small businesses. There are a lot of business. I'll give you a joke. I try to be super transparent. Today I was running late coming in and I didn't have time to go home and change my clothes. I'm in downtown Brooklyn, and over in Brooklyn Heights, you have a lot of small businesses, but even large corporations are going out of business. So I went to Loft, which is closing on Montague Street, and bought my entire outfit for a total of $35. And so I want people to think small, shop local, and support your small businesses.
All right. On that note, see you guys next week.
All right. Cheers.